Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Unseen Strands podcast, a crochet and fiber arts related podcast where I, your host Mo, am visually impaired and will be weaving in strands the rest of my life. I come to you from central Iowa, where I live with my 4 boys, my husband, our 2 cats, and our dog. And like the episode title suggests, so this episode has been a long time in coming, and I didn't say which number it is because honestly I don't remember, and since I had to go back and basically am going to have to re-record / reconfigure the last couple episodes that I've recorded because I went to upload photos or I guess I went to attach them to things, and I don't know where my folder is. It disappeared. I lost it. I also lost stuff that I needed for cows and things, and that's actually when I found out that my file was missing. But yeah, so we're just going to kind of do a quick little episode here with some of my works in progress and some other, I guess, ideas of projects that we'll be working on. And sometime later, I'll have to get into the FOs and things since that's a lot of what is missing. But yeah, anyways, so I decided I'd just go ahead and record kind of ongoing from, I guess, where I left off. That, of course, you guys haven't seen, but we've got to start over somewhere. So we'll just start from scratch today, I guess. And yeah, the older 2 boys, or my bigs, are off with Nanny for swim/pool day with Nanny. So yeah, I thought I'd go ahead and kind of update a little bit during the littles' nap time. So hopefully this is going to be a shorter episode as I won't have so much to share with you. So to start off, I am currently working on a test project. So yes, I've only given you a slight little small sample of the project, but I am currently working on a top that I am testing for a designer over on Ravelry, and I am making it with a 3mm hook, or I guess now I've moved up to my next size hook, which I don't think is an E. So it could be a D, it could be 3.25, or it might be my E-hook. I can't remember. But the most of the body, and it's written to only use a 3mm, but I've decided since it's a top and I want the, I guess, around the waist to kind of expand a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and work the rest of what I'm doing with a slightly larger hook to kind of give it a little more give without taking away from any of the design, I guess. So hopefully I will have this done by our next episode, and hopefully the pattern will be released by my next episode so I can actually give you a full view of this top in use. But right now I am working with Baby Cashmerino, which is a yarn that was done by Debbie Bliss. Debbie Bliss is no longer selling yarn or doing anything in the yarn business, but I heard from the Must Love Yarn podcast that she sold her rights or something over to Ella Ray Yarns. Is that the right name? So they will still have these yarns, and especially this particular, the Baby Cashmere or Cashmerino, was picked up by this other yarn company. So I thought I was kind of screwed and this was all the yarn I had, but apparently you can now get it from a different distributor or whatever. But anyways, I only have 6, and the main body of my top is in the color Pool, and then the lace trim is in the color Sapphire, and I only have 2 balls of that, so I have 400 roughly grams altogether. This is a sport weight yarn, and I found that sport weight is like my go-to yarn. That's what I like to work with. So you may notice later that a lot of my planning is in sport weight yarns. But anyway, so that is what I am working on while talking to you. I am also working on well, since it is July and it is Christmas in July, I am very barely started a pair of crocheted socks. This is the Sparklers pattern, I think, from the sock collection that I have gotten. And it's said to use an e-hook, I believe. I have decided that I didn't like how the fabric felt at that size, and so I went ahead. This is not in my 2mm. I think it's in my next size, and I'm not sure what hooks that is. So yeah, whatever my second smallest hook is, so roughly a B or C hook. And yeah, so that's being worked. That is out of Leading Men Fiber Arts yarn, and that is in the color Meet Me by the Mistletoe. And that yarn I picked up at the Iowa Sheep and Wool Festival, which I actually have a picture from that, but I did see them again more recently. And I guess I'll save that little story for later on. But yeah, so I've kind of become a Leading Men Fiber Arts stalker, although that is probably the last time I am going to be anywhere that they are in the next year or so, because I highly suspect that we will both be making it back up to the Minnesota Shepherd's Harvest Festival, and so that will probably be the next time that I see Steve and Andy. But yeah, I am working that for my Christmas in July. I highly doubt that will get done for any Christmas in July, but I am working on it, so. And then the other thing I am working on is the main inspiration, of course, for this project is for the Summer Romance cowl that is being done right now. And I think that's Crochet Cakes and Crochet Luna. Is that right? I think so. Sorry guys, I'm losing track of everything because there are so many cowls going on. And of course I will be doing lots of double dipping. But yeah, so I have my Summer Romance. These are my Poison Ivy socks, which are for my husband, of course, but we, again, a Leading Men Fiber Arts yarn, and again, purchased at the Iowa Sheep and Wool Festival. But these, I asked my husband if he thought that Poison Ivy was a good... I honestly didn't know anything about the character Poison Ivy other than it existed. And so I asked him if that would work good as a villain for him to love, quote unquote, and have a pair of socks of. He's the one who picked out the colorway, by the way. I didn't suggest it because I could use it for that. He was the one who picked it out, and then I had the inspiration that it would work for that cowl. And so, yeah. He'll hopefully be getting a pair of Poison Ivy socks before the end of Summer Romance cowl, although as you can see I'm only roughly halfway done with this pair of socks. This is being worked with my 2mm hook, which I personally am very much in love with, and this is my Yarnology or whatever set of 10 hooks. We did find, I don't know if I ever got that posted, we did find my 2mm hidden inside the couch. So I do have that again, and so yeah, that's what I am working on his socks with. And I did find out that this is a light fingering yarn, and so I actually had to do a little bit wider cuff than I had done. Again, this is a pattern that I am pretty much making up as I go to fit my husband. I did this with the koi socks that I made him earlier in the year, but that was out of a MCN yarn. And so this time I'm going to go ahead, and this is just your normal 75-25 merino nylon blend, and I'm hoping that maybe this will be a little less warm so he'll be able to wear it sooner. But these socks will be going into the Summer Romance cowl, as well as I just was looking up right before I started recording, and I found a graphic novel series that does feature Poison Ivy, so I will also be entering these into the Pen, Hook, and Needles Tea and Tales along that is running all year long, but I am happy to again have a project that I can actually post in there, and hopefully will be a finished object for this third quarter of the year. And that is being hosted in a bag that I actually won from the Autism Awareness Along that was also being done by Penhook and Needles. So I got this. It's a puzzle piece bag, which, as you may know, puzzle pieces is a common symbol for autism awareness. I mainly know this because my boys' shop sells tons and tons, and they probably aren't so happy, but they sell lots of puzzle piece things, and I have gotten messages from people, either they're using it for birthday parties or for autism awareness type things. Like I have one person that bought them because her son with autism was making those ornaments, and so he was using the paper puzzle pieces to put into those plastic ornaments or glass. I'm guessing she probably used plastic, but yeah, so gluing those inside of those for, you know, fun decorations. But yeah, so that is what I am basically currently working on. And then I decided, since I have lots of ideas going along and lots of other cows that I need to be jumping into, I decided I'd go a little bit over this next part of the podcast on things in idea mode, I guess. So I don't know if you were aware, but there is a yarn dyer that is giving up the dyeing business. It was Gnome Acres. I don't know what she still has in her shop. It will be officially closed by July 31st. I don't really know the story as to what happened and why she is quitting, but I decided that I would participate in buying some yarn from her because I had heard nothing but good things. I had heard her shop come up from other people in the past, and since, you know, obviously I am spending way too much money on yarn recently, but I have a very limited income, so I haven't gone around and went crazy, but I did go a little crazy in her store because my husband gave me the permission. He said, well, you can't get it again, so you might as well. So I did get these 3 skeins. This is also, again, a sport weight. It is in the color Third Rock from the Sun and Jade. Sorry, I had a little brain fart there. And I'm not sure exactly what I'll be making out of this, but I did want to make some kind of top, and I'm hoping I can find something that 300 grams of a sport weight will help me, or that I'll be able to make out of it. I'm almost thinking I really like to wear like the mock turtleneck tank top things, and since the tank top thing that I'm working on now kind of is giving me the idea that I can make something like that, but I need to shape it a little differently, of course. So I'm thinking maybe I'll try and do that because that would be really pretty. I can't remember the blend of yarn this is. I know it's probably merino. I'm not sure if it had nylon or if it was 100% merino. But that's one sweater plan kind of idea. Then again, since I said that I had seen Leading Men Fiber Arts again, this is actually the 3rd time that we've seen them, so now I feel like we're more acquaintances and not just, you know, random fangirl that barely knows them. And yeah, so I feel like I know him a little better, and Andy, oh, he always recognizes us right away, and I'm like, I don't think I'm that recognizable, because he's like, oh guys, how are you? And it's just so funny. But yeah, I got a sweaters quantity this last time, or at least I will try to make it into some kind of top again. And I wanted something a little more fallish since we are going to be going into fall. So I got 3 skeins. This is 100% merino yarn, and again, a sport weight, but this was in the color Masquerade, and I thought that would, you know, Masquerade is a good Halloweenish theme, so I thought that would go good into the fall, and hopefully we will find a pattern that I can kind of make with that. And then I also got, now this is kind of a mix from 2 of our trips with the Leading Men. One of these, the little mini is the Electric Avenue, which I actually got at the Iowa Sheep and Wool Fest. And then the other color, I believe, because then I got confused. And so I think that this is Fishbowl. And the idea behind this was originally that I was going to make Jeremy some like fingerless mitts or a cowl or something for school out of that Electric Avenue color because he absolutely loves it, which is totally weird to me because he's the blue child and not yellow. I would think more bright things for Sam, but he absolutely loved the Electric Avenue, which he calls the Electric Company. But yeah, he loved that colorway. And so this last time that we saw them, we went ahead and picked up Fishbowl. And I'm thinking now because the which group is it? I can't think of the name. A Wooden Nest? Is that right? Well, something. Anyways, the one that is doing the hat along all year. She this month's thing was design your own hat, and so I'm thinking I might try and do a hat, and I'll do the fishbowl colorway and do it double. And I'm thinking of possibly doing the X-stitch and kind of incorporating that into a hat because his Rip Beer sweater is with the X-stitch. And so yeah, I'm thinking possibly of that as being something good, and then using the Electric Avenue as like a trim color. And since I would be holding the fishbowl double, I thought maybe for the edge I would hold one strand of the Electric Avenue and one strand of the fishbowl to kind of help stretch it out a little bit. I only got a really small mini of the Electric Avenue because originally the plan was he wanted it for socks, and I was going to only do like the toes and heels or something in the Electric Avenue because we're like, this is going to get so dirty so fast. But now I've kind of branched away from that, so I kind of wish I would have gotten the larger skein of the Electric Avenue, but I have the mini to work from, so that's what we're going to try to work from. And then my final progress, or I guess idea, that is hopefully going to be started sometime soon, is I got this is my rose fiber spin, which I think it's coming out a little more corally looking in the photo, or salmony, and it's a little more pinky pink. And this is the skein of Shibui mohair silk that I won from the Yarn to Tables Goat Along. And so it's got a silk blend, so I was thinking of holding that lace weight yarn with my rose fiber spin and doing a scarf. I remember that, was it Even Gaze that just released a scarf pattern, and so I thought maybe I would try that since I picked that one up. Or, you know, there's any number of other patterns or cowls or anything that I could make, so I'm thinking of possibly doing that. And yeah, so that's my works in progress and design ideas in progress. Since all my finished, well, it's not that all the finished objects are file not found, I'm being lazy. I don't want to find them, and so I took these off my things right now. Oh, and it's Tour de Fleece. I almost forgot about this photo. So it's Tour de Fleece right now, and I should be spinning, but instead I'm recording with you. And so I am spinning my Capsula, I believe is the name. It's the Sea-Cell blend from Paradise Fibers in the June box. So that is what I'm currently working on for the Tour de France. I am thinking of also spinning my Angora, or my faux Angora, I guess, with this, which would be from the April box, and then plying those two together. So I obviously will have more of the Sea-Cell blend than the faux Angora blend, but I thought that might actually be a really nice like go together thing and get me out of just plying the same thing with itself. So I've thought of that. You can let me know if you think that sounds like a good idea or not. And if you had any other ideas with what I should, I guess, ply my Capsula blend with. But that's currently what I am spinning on, I guess. So that's gotten a lot of attention because I'm not at least I think I'm a fairly slow spinner, but I get I think, a more consistent spin than a lot of people that have only been spinning roughly for a year and not very consistently for that year. So yeah, I'm working on that. Anyway, so back to my stories. Yeah, so I've now ran into Leading Man Fiber Arts, well, pretty much on purpose, 3 times this summer. And this last time they were doing a trunk show at what I like to call my local yarn store. It's actually not the nearest one to me. It might be the second closest. I'm not sure if the one on the other side of the metro is technically closer, but it takes like just as long to get there, if that makes any sense. It actually takes probably about the same amount of time to get to my closest one because, you know, traffic and all. Because there's actually one in the town I live on, but it is on the exact opposite corner of town as me, and it's not like a quick town to get through. So yeah, I consider this other one, which is in a completely different city and not in the metro, but it's all out in the country driving, and it's down in Winterset, Iowa, and I just love that area. Winterset might sound familiar. I covered it in my beta with, they were doing the airing of the quilts then, and it's the Bridges of Madison County is there. Like, that's Madison County is Winterset. I mean, the county that it sets in. So that's the nearest town to the Bridges mostly. And so yeah, it's got a lot going on because it is that town. So Steve and Andy were down at that store to do a trunk show. And so of course I had to go. And this will be the second time that the boys have seen them, so I guess we probably stand out more because of the kids now, but, you know, the first time they recognized me, we didn't have the kids at all, and they more recognized the yarn because I had my little flower that I made. I guess that never made it into an FO here, but it's on my Instagram, and maybe I'll remember to go back and pull it up. Oh, I know, I'll post a picture of us at Iowa Sheep and Wool. That'll work, because that has my flower, even though it's not a close-up. But yeah, that's me, Steve, Andy, and Sam, or my middle or youngest of the bigs. And yeah, so this time, you know, Sam gets so awkward when he's talking to adults and things, and I guess we told him he had to stay with the babies up in the front of the store because it's really hard to get their double stroller into the yarn store, let alone the yarn store with a mini yarn store inside of it. And I guess when we got out, he was mad at us because he didn't get to go and look at the yarn. So I'm like, oh, well, we'll go eat lunch and then I'll take one for the team and I'll go back in. You know, what a sacrificing mom I am. I will take the time and, you know, go back into the yarn store, back into the trunk show that we're, like, obsessed with their yarn for, just so he can look. But Sam did get to plug his idea for yarn. So if you ever see Spidey Sense or a Spider-Man inspired colorway from Steve and Andy, that is Sam's colorway that he has suggested. So I'm hoping in, I guess, next year, because I think they're trying to release one each month. Hopefully by next summer, because, you know, Spider-Man colors are red and blue, so I could totally see it being like a July colorway with red, white, and blue. Come on, guys. But yeah, I could totally see that coming out sometime next year, and yeah, I'm sure that we'll have to be like the first people to purchase that yarn, right? But hopefully Sam will have his own colorway. Oh, and the funny story, when we were at Iowa Sheep and Wool, this is in some of the coverage that you guys did not get to hear. When we were at Iowa Sheep and Wool, they had, you know, pens for people to sign stuff with, and Sam was like, are you giving away those pens? And I'm like, honey, those are for other people. And Steve totally gave Sam a pen. you know, it's just a generic pen, but oh my gosh, he just was on cloud 9 that he got this pen at the Sheep and Wool Festival, because he has a real thing about collecting, especially cards and pens and stickers from different places like that. So he was just ecstatic that he got this pen, and now he possibly will have a colorway. So yeah, we'll see. We'll cross our fingers and hope that sometime we have our Spidey Sense colorway from Leading Men Fiber Arts. Anyways, guys, I'm sure that's been way, way, way longer than I anticipated it being. I thought we were going to do a quick thing since I only had a few pictures for you. But I feel like I've rambled a lot, which is pretty normal anymore. But anyway, so our basic information, if you would like to follow me on social media, I'm really sorry, I'm really terrible at using it. But you can find me as either MOesKrochet or Hooked on Moes on many platforms. Currently, our Etsy shops are on vacation mode, which would be the Hooked on Moes shop and the MOesKidZ shop. And that is because of the Etsy fee change structure. I need to go and raise prices, of course. And I'm busy with test crocheting and trying to get projects done for Cal, so yeah, I'm not being super motivated to get back in there and update things. But you can also find us, you know, on Facebook. I'm Hooked on Moes on Facebook. I am Hooked on Moes on Twitter, but I am MOesKrochet on Instagram, which I do tend to use a little more than most other platforms. And I think I'm MOesKrochet on Pinterest, but my computer, or at least my settings, don't like Pinterest, so I have not used that for a very long time. MOesKrochet on Goodreads, which I have not updated recently. I am currently reading... Dollars and Cents. How we misthink money and how to spend better and something, something, something. I do think I might have put that on my bookshelf in there because I remember reading the reviews or something for it on Goodreads. But that is what I'm currently reading. I basically only get to read while we're at Taekwondo because we put the littles in the stroller, which works out really well for me because then I get to actually just kind of veg out and not be mom for like 45 minutes. But yeah, so that's what I am reading. And oh, and one last thing before I forget, the Cakewalk Cal is still going on. This is in the Unseen Strands, or this podcast Ravelry group, or on Facebook in the No Catchy Names Facebook group. So there are lots of great projects going on, and if you remember, this is for any like bought caked style yarn or anything that you have gone ahead and caked yourself. So like my socks are something I've caked myself. So those would qualify, and if I ever get around to my hand spinning thing, that will also have to be caked first. So again, just great ideas for, you know, it doesn't have to be something from a big chain store, but it can be. But you can also do it with your specialty yarns, because usually those are hanked yarns, and so you do cake them before you use them. But yeah, lots of great things going on in there, so feel free to check that out. If you enjoyed this episode, I'm sorry it was long, delayed, and all, but I'm hopefully back and we'll get some more recording done this summer. But if you liked this episode, I would appreciate it if you would hook the like button and subscribe. Talk to you later, guys.